This time we'd like to welcome in Trailblazers sideline reporter Brooke Olzendam. And Brooke, my first question to you, did you guys get a chance to watch that unbelievable Super Bowl yesterday?
Well, we watched, the parts that really counted, that's for sure. We landed about halftime. Of course, everyone's watching or checking it, game casting it, if you will, on their phone. So everyone was pretty aware of what was going on. But at that point, like pretty much everyone else in the country, I would have to think, we thought it was kind of a rout. We figured, I guess we'll just kind of go casually find our TV, maybe, walk to a room, watch it there. And the team went and had their own viewing room in the hotel. So when we landed, they went straight there and talked to them about it today at practice. And sounds like it was crazy for them, but I couldn't get over it. I went to grab food, thought I'd get it to go, and then looked up and it started to become a game. So I said, I guess I'll just stay here and just watched it by myself in a random restaurant in Dallas. But it was incredible. I mean, we're all still talking about it today. And like I said, the team, it was a range of emotions. We got a lot of Patriots fans, and then Chief, big-time Atlanta fan, being from Georgia. So he actually left early because he said this one's over, and went and watched it in his room. So at least he was by himself to watch the debacle of the Atlanta Falcons.
How was his body language today after that game?
Oh, my gosh, Jordan. Michael's there too, right, Michael?
Yes, Michael is here.
I'm here, Brooke. Yes.
Just making sure. So it was incredible. You guys know Chief. He's pretty much, he's a soft-spoken guy. He's by no means rude, but he's just sometimes, is kind of one of the quieter guys, a lovely guy. But you don't really get, these long conversations with him, which is fine. I talked to him today. I'm not joking. I said maybe 4 words, and we had a 7-minute conversation. That guy knows more about football, more about his team, the Atlanta Falcons, and is passionate. It was incredible. I'm actually going to use a soundbite tomorrow during the broadcast because it was amazing. I just put the mic out, and Chief just went. He just talked and talked. He talked about every play, what they did wrong, why he didn't like it, what they could have done differently. It was unbelievable. I walked away and said, Chief, that was the longest conversation we've ever had. And he's like, thanks. It was awesome.
So, Brooke, I'm curious. Share with us a little bit more about your career arc and how you landed with the Portland Trailblazers. When did you get your start, and what kind of got you into this industry? What excited you about getting a chance to cover sports in the capacity that you do?
Oh, what, you have like an hour, Jordan?
We do have an hour on this program, actually. Bill Walton it was one question to Bill Walton, so I'm sure we've got the rest of the segment if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, I can't compete with Bill Walton, so I'll keep it short as I can. Just I guess the general interest in sports came to me from my father, who I've talked a lot about. He is in the Washington State Coaches Hall of Fame. He coached high school boys for 36 years, so I grew up in the gym, played basketball in high school, not to the level where I could compete collegiately like you guys, but still enjoyed it. And it was my love. It still is. It's one of my passions. It's not just sports. Yes, sports in general, but the NBA was what my dad and I just watched all the time growing up. All my girlfriends, care about what they're going to wear, about fashion, and I wore like Phoenix Sun shirts. I was such a tomboy. All I cared about really was sports, and in particular the NBA. So I knew I wanted to do something with sports. And I started journalism, studying that at Washington State at Edward R. Murrow. It was just a great school. They throw you in the fire. You do everything. You figure out if you like to produce, if you want to do sports, weather, editing, all the above. And so it was a really great experience. And, you try everything out. And when I did my first sports broadcast, I'm like, just came naturally. I'm like, this is what I got to do. So I kind of took a risk and went straight to Fox Sports Northwest, which is now Prime Ticket. No, it is now Root. Excuse me. The one down in LA is now Prime Ticket. Now Root Sports, which everybody knows. And kind of just jumped in there and did whatever they asked me to do, editing, producing. And actually it was very helpful because now I know what everybody does. I kind of have a feel for how to help produce when I'm in front of the camera too. And just took a risk and kept putting my reel together and begging the EPs to give me a shot. Started sideline on a UW volleyball game and just kind of went up from there. I got more chances, did sideline for Husky football and basketball, then moved up to Pac-10, back when it was Pac-10, had a show called Running with the Pack, and then everything kind of unfolded, and it got more and more with CBS college football sideline, and then what really got me into what I love, as you guys know, was my first stint with the Indiana Pacers. I was a sideline reporter and pre- and post-game show host for 3 years. And that's when I'm like, this is where I want to be in terms of what I want to cover. And now it's come full circle. I'm back on the West Coast. I'm back near home and covering a team I followed growing up and right here where you guys are in Portland. And the dream is real.
It's so great to hear. And you mentioned journalism school at Washington State. I'm curious, is this something that was always just natural for you, or were there some things that you learned in college that have helped you apply it to what you're doing now?
Oh, for sure. People have talked about this with people. I think that there are some where it just comes naturally. They stand in front of a camera, they know what they're talking about, the topic, if they know a team really well or just sports in general, and they just feel natural. And I don't think you can teach that. Sometimes people just have it. But I think there are little tips you can learn, that I picked up in college, in terms of the way you ask a question, the way you listen to the person you're interviewing, and you just not so you have like a stacked 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. You want to be able to respond and react to what the person you're talking to says. So you might scrap every question you had after the first because you really need to be in tune with what they're saying. So that was something I picked up on. And just really being involved with your producer and your director, and just being just not just doing your job, but helping others do theirs, so it's really cohesive. So just little things like that. And really, number one thing, which thank goodness it came natural to me, but is treat everyone with respect, because this is a very small world, and I know you guys would agree when it comes to sports and broadcasting.
Brooke, I watched something at the end of the game yesterday, and I'm willing to bet that you paid attention to it as well. If not, I'm going to ask you about it and reset the stage. When the game was over and Tom Brady kneeled down and was having his moment, and people were trying to give him some room and space, when he got back to his feet, you got cameras everywhere. It's mayhem, if you will.
Yep.
But the reporter, Chris, what's his name, from Fox, Chris Myers, I think. He had the job, and I think he had the first opportunity to get an interview. And he had to navigate and work through and squeeze and under pressure get through 2 or 3 questions. Did you notice that?
Oh, that's so funny, Michael. Again, I was by myself, but I noticed it completely. I was watching him try to get in there, and that's obviously not easy. Everyone's trying to get at him. You have his coach, you have his teammates, and I don't think his family had even made it down there yet, so they weren't even in the mix. But, yeah, that's a very difficult thing to not only navigate and bring him to you, have people just give him some space and not want to hug him and say great job, because everyone on the field wants to do that. So that's not an easy thing to do. I watched the interview. I don't like to critique or do anything like that to other reporters, because you're in that family, and I don't really like to do it. But what I would have liked him to ask, if I could have been in that spot, and again, he was in a tough one, but I really would have liked to have heard, because that was the first game that his mom had been at, and that's something that people have been talking about for, the whole week, that she made it there and she wasn't, hadn't been feeling well, and it was a big deal, and they had that picture on the field. I really wanted to hear what it meant to him to have his mom there. That's one thing I would have asked. But again, it's so hard. There's so many things going on. Sometimes you can't hear your producer, and you just want to get in a few questions. But I noticed that too, Michael. That's a tough one. Those are always really difficult situations.
And Brooke, we get a chance to see you ask Coach Stotts questions each game as we do our pregame show. How do you go about formulating the specific questions for Coach as you try to sort of paint the picture for each game? Sure.
Well, because I talked to him, by the way, I'll start by saying I am so lucky that I have a coach like him that I talk to before every game. The whole coaching staff has been really great to me, and very fair, and he's always very honest and thoughtful with his answers. So that's something I look forward to. I don't know if everyone in my position around the NBA could say the same, so I feel very lucky about that. But the way I look at it, you'd like, depending on kind of the streak or the run they've been on, the rough one in December, I didn't really like looking back so much. I didn't necessarily see the value in saying what went wrong the game before. He had already talked about it post-game, and there's many articles written about it. So in situations like that, I like to somewhat look at maybe a solid performance in that game from an Allen Crabbe or someone that came off the bench and had a great game, and then kind of just move right on into the next opponent, that night's opponent, and talk about certain guys, the way they're going to defend them, or what he'd like to see improvement in his guys. So it kind of depends on the vibe of what's going on with the team, how I approach what I'll ask him about. But I always like to talk about, individual performances, if a guy has been really feeling it lately and what he's liked about that. But again, he's always really thoughtful with his answers, and I always look forward to that interview.
All right, Brooke, as you know, I'm a big-time foodie. I like to certainly get my calories in on a daily basis. You know what I'm talking about right there, Michael.
Yeah, but you're the healthy foodie. I'm the not healthy foodie.
Hey, Brooke, before he finishes this question and you answer, I got to validate what he just said. I've never seen a guy try. I nicknamed him Potluck. Because he doesn't just bring, you know, one bowl or something. He got spaghetti in a 1-gallon tub. And then he got broccoli he eats out of the bag. I mean, anyway, all right, go ahead, Jordan.
It takes a lot of calories to eat healthy. When you eat healthy, you got to eat a lot of calories.
God.
You got to bring a wide variety of food and choices and options to have in front of you, Michael.
Man, I'd be a minivan. with you.
I'm going to start calling you Potluck. That's the best nickname I ever heard.
Hey, it works for me. Works for me. Hey, everybody loves a potluck. That's all I know. Everybody loves a potluck. So, Brooke, I have to ask, on your travels so far with the team this season, or even in your experience with Indiana, what has been one of your favorite go-to spots every year you get a chance to see that on the calendar? Oh, man, I got to go there and get me some of that.
Okay, this is kind of embarrassing, or maybe people will actually think I'm cool. It's actually today I went to it when I'm in Dallas, and we usually stay at a different hotel. Can't believe I'm doing this to myself. There's a place across from, and both these hotels are in walking distance, so I went there again today. And it is in a gas station. It's barbecue food you get in a gas station. And it's the best I've ever had. Now,
is that the barbecue place? I remember you went to Dallas to cover the national championship game for the Oregon Duck football team. Is that the place you did a feature at as well?
That's a different one.
Oh, different gas station barbecue place. I'm sorry, I get my gas station barbecue spots mixed up.
Brooke, I got to jump in here because how does one stumble upon barbecue in the gas station? I mean, were you just filling up? You were riding with a friend and you were hungry, you tried it and you liked it?
Didn't utilize the gas station part of it at all. No, it was just, in my opinion, it was a barbecue place attached to a gas station. That's the way I looked at it. Okay. And I always think, you know, it looks, you know, down home there, it looks local. The best part, it's a Shell gas station. So it's not like a local one. It's a Shell gas station. And you walk in and it's everything, you think you would see in one. And then you go to the back left corner and it's just, you know, today was a brisket and I got a side of coleslaw. I got some mac and cheese. I got even a little added sausage, which was off the menu. I added that to my meal. And it was fantastic. I brought it home. I ate it, and I think it's been the 5th time I've been there. It's fantastic. Those are the best kind of places, little holes in the wall.
You've got our cameraman, Buck, drooling right now behind the lens as he leans his head back over brisket.
Sorry, Buck.
That's a different type of fill-up right there.
Oh, my God.
You can take your minivan. You can go there and fill up there, certainly. So, Brooke, as you've had a chance to work with the team, you talked about the coaching staff, but what has it been like to cover these players? Because it seems like they're wonderful with the media. At least that's the perspective we see from what we venture on your interviews with them a lot of times.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it was an interesting situation for me, Jordan and Michael, because you guys know this. I was already covering the team on CSN for the 2 years prior, so I had a pretty good feel for them. You know, I talked to them all, interviewed them. So I knew them relatively well. But this year, you know, it's on a whole new level. But it's just been an easy kind of transition because it's just on another level now. I talk to them after practice, you know, after wins. Obviously, we do that walk-off interview. But they've been fantastic to me, so respectful. And like I said, some guys talk more than others, and it's just because that's in their personality. But everyone treats me with respect, and that's just something I really appreciate, and I have a lot of value in that. And these guys are all that way, so I'll start with that. But it's just been it's been fun for me. We do these features. I don't know if you guys showed one, but Pat Connaughton was one of our most recent on the road features, and I just kind of get to delve in how they approach a road trip, what they eat on the plane, just goofy stuff. And those are the kind of features I like to do because you get to know them on a different level. It's not always X's and O's. So I just feel like he's kind of just surrounded by a bunch of my brothers, you know, and it's been just a treat for me. Everyone is fantastic, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for taking some time. We'll let you get back to the barbecue food that also hosts a gas station as well. We appreciate you taking
Jordan,
some time.
It's 24 hours. I could go right now.
I would go, too. I'm not hating. I would load up on some brisket in a heartbeat, but that's
Jordan,
just terrific.
They wouldn't have enough brisket for you.